They're already done. What do you mean? You want ready-made? I'll sell you mine.
No, I have my own. I want to die. It's going to be spoiled economically.
You have to wait the next Hanukkah, my friend. Next Hanukkah. All right. Daf Yomi with Beis. Am I too close over here?
No, you're fine.
L'refuah Shoshana Reza Bas Silka. That's the official name now. We could all say that. Shoshana Reza Bas Silka. All right. We're holding Daf Yomi Beis. We're a little bit behind. We'll try to catch up today, even though we have a long daf. Says the Gemara, we're by the two dots, Yatsu B'nei Me'el, like 10 lines from the bottom. If the intestines of the chicken came out, and there was no nekev, there was no hole in them, you could put them back in. If you didn't reverse the order, if you put in what belongs on the bottom, you put it on top, and vice versa, then it's a treifa d'chsiv. Hu oscha v'yichonenecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the organs of the body in a certain order, and that's how they have to remain. Each organ has a base for the other. One is supposed to be underneath the other, and it upholds the other. And if they're in the wrong order, then it could be fatal. If it's reversed, the chicken will die. Tanya Remei has a different pshat in the pasuk. Is not referring to a person; it's referring to Knesset Yisrael. It's like a city that has everything in it. Mimenu koyhano, from Klal Yisrael, you have the koyhanim, mimenu neviyav, mimenu sarav, mimenu melachav. You don't have to come to other nations to bring in power, to bring in kings. We have everything. It's self-sustained. Shenemar mimenu pino, mimenu yosed. You have everything. You have a peg. You have whatever you need. Says the Gemara, an incredible story. Ahu roima, the chazi lahu gaver denofa migor laro. A guy saw that somebody fell off the roof. He saw that his stomach ripped open and his intestines came out. And he had a problem because he knew that if you put in the intestines in the wrong order, the guy's going to die anyways. So what do you do? He took the guy's son and shechted him. The problem is, what did he gain? He killed one guy in order to save another guy. He did it with magic. It just looked as if he killed the guy's son. But this guy was in such pain, he forgot about his stomach for a second, and he said, wow, my son just died. He went like this. I visioned it as, when you finish vacuuming your house, you take the plug and you give it a little shove, and then it all goes flying back in. And that's what happened. He went, and then it all went in, and it went back into the natural position out of fear. But he made he made a noise. He pulled himself in, and it jumped back in. And therefore he was able to sew it back up in the right way.
Brilliant doctor.
Yeah. He was a magician, he was a doctor, he was everything. It says Bachuz Zainain.
Here it says the
How do you pretend? I want to see a guy that was so scared, he looked like he was dead.
Okay.
All right. So it says in the Mishnah, Nishtabru Ragleho. Yeah, exactly. But it was magic. That looked like magic. Cut persons, right. Nishtabru Ragleho. It was a whole show. He obviously got the son involved as well. The son went like this. Otherwise, he would have left. It was a whole. Says the Gemara. It said in the Mishnah Nishtabru Ragleho that if the chicken's feet break, so we said that if it breaks lower than the joint, then even if the bone pops out, it's okay. If it breaks above the joint, then as long as the bone is still in there, it's good. Says the Gemara. Hautzano, there was a basket. Din koire. There were a basket full of birds that had broken legs, and Rava came to check them. So Rashi says two pshatim, either it means a basket, or he brings that it could be a bird, which the art scroll translates to this beautiful duck. Because the way he translates it, it's a black head with white spots, and this is called the harlequin duck, I think it is, something like that.
Mallard.
The male ones are nicer.
He says it's a mallard.
No.
He says it's mellow.
It's mechlok on the article. It's machlokes. Anyways, so that's this bird. But regardless of what it is, if it's a basket or a bird, the point is that they had broken legs. Batki Rava b'tzomis hagidin. So Rava went and he checked the tzomis hagidin. Tzomis means the junction. Hagidin, the tendons. The junction of the tendons, meaning the chicken right over here, this is the pulki. So right over here, he has 16 tendons. And if even one of those tendons is ripped, then it's a treifa. Now what's going on here? The leg broke. So what is he checking the tendons? Because he holds that if the leg breaks, you need to be worried that maybe one of the 16 tendons, which are delicate, are going to snap. And if they snap, it's no good. When I was 19, one of my tendons snapped, and that was it. My basketball career is over. I wasn't able to dunk since then. Never. Yeah, surgery is the whole thing, but it's very difficult to walk around with a snapped tendon.
Yeah, this trofa is one of the most important trofas today. That's what we check.
But they don't really check it. I mean, even they check a little bit. They check once in, not all. I was in there. The really big machmirim check. Right. Depends what's kashrus, but they don't really find many problems with the tzomis hagidin. That's why other kashrus do one in, I don't remember, 10, 20, whatever it is.
It's not true.
It's not true. Okay.
At one stage, I remember in Kedassia, they were finding 5%.
5%. Okay. But it's a lot less than.
Normally it's between 0.5% to 1%.
They got a bad batch of chickens that day.
Yeah, that was it. So now what they do is they check the chickens when they're alive. They do a test check, and if it's a bad batch, they don't take them back.
Okay, fine. Right, so it depends on the batch.
Zok
Zok the Gemara.
That means that one of them snapped?
We have to limit the talking.
One
No.
of the 16 snapped?
One of the 16 snapped.
What?
I'm messing with him. He was complaining to me.
Reuben was
No,
one
I'm
who
just
was
kidding.
Kaddish.
All right, yeah.
Reuben was one who was Kaddish to do this.
He got it. Don't worry about it. He's good.
Previously,
Yeah.
they never did this test. This was never done in Poland to do this test.
It's not, I don't know if it's going to stand.
Reuben-
Ooh!
And
One stand up.
They say that the reason
Yeah.
why there's been a change in
Because of the food they eat.
Broken
No,
tendon.
they don't say that.
Yeah.
They say it's because they've accelerated the growth of the chicken. It used
Uh-huh.
to be this
That makes sense.
lifespan was 30.
But that has to do with the food.
It's that they don't develop properly.
They don't develop properly and it becomes weak.
And therefore,
And therefore the tzomis hagidin is weaker nowadays.
Snap.
Snaps. Zok the Gemara. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav Shmutas Yad Bebehema Kshera. Now, an animal has a hand and a foot like we do. So does a chicken. A chicken's hand would be its wing. So this is its leg, its foreleg, the hind leg, and this is the foreleg. Okay, this is what we call a yad, and this is the regel. Says the Gemara, there's a big difference. Says Rav that if this is dislocated from the joint, it's kosher. An animal could live without its foreleg. It'll walk on 3 legs. Shmudas yorech bebehema treifo. If the hind leg, the buka de atma, gets dislocated, then it's treif. And as we said in that sugi that we learned before, that's all on condition that the tendons are also misachel. They were eaten away. Says
One of
the
those bones?
no over here, up here, by the joint of the hip bone. Shmutas yorech ba'oif treifa. So here's the bird. Today we'll use this guy. I hope it doesn't fall apart. So what are we learning here? Shmutas yorech ba'oif. So this is the thigh. This is the leg of the boat. So if it popped out, it's treif. Shmutas gaf ba'oif. This is the wing of the bird. If that pops out, it's kosher. Because again, it makes sense. How's a chicken cannot treif? Oh, sorry. Right. Shmutas gaf ba'oif treifa. Okay, so that's a little bit of a problem. Why? We're concerned that the lung that's inside over here, when this pops out, it's going to take a piece of the lung with it. Now the question is, why exactly is that so? What connection does the wing have to the lung? The Tmunei Chol has an incredible insight here to how it works. And basically, he describes the lung of a bird as very, very different than the lung of a human and animal. Where a human lung expands and contracts, the bird lung is in a stationary position. Because it flies and it needs a very high level of oxygen, etc. It oxygenates its blood 10 times quicker than a mammal. And his point is that if you look at a bird, you'll see that part of his lung is actually embedded in this bone. Because it doesn't come in and out, that's where it's built in. It's a built-in kind of thing, a very small part. So, in essence, if you remove this, you're removing part of the lung. On the spot, it's almost, not that it's going to puncture the lung, you're removing part of the lung, he says.
So if it's flying...
Because basically the Rishonim had a major problem with Rashi. What's the connection? Other Rishonim say it's this bone over here, I forgot what it's called, parcula, what is it? Scapula, thank you, scapula. And that makes more sense because that rests on the lung, and that's how they explain that there's according to what Rashi says, according to what the Tmunei Chol says, it's more of a recent discovery that Rashi is very right in what he says, that by pulling this swing out, you're actually removing a little bit of the lung.
He explains that
I knew you know this Tmunei Chol Baal Peh, yeah.
He explains that what normally is done in other animals done in the lung, that means breathing in and out.
Right.
Is done in air sacs around it.
Right.
And
Over here it's many smaller...
many smaller things, and the wing is attached to those air sacs, and therefore...
Pulling the wing out, you're pulling out a sac.
The wing could damage those air sacs.
Right.
And by
All right.
flapping its wings, it's actually creating a breathing effect. And our chest is in and out, him moving his wings is activating the...
Oh, that's what you're saying? Okay. Ushmuel Omar. So then the question would be, how does he move his lungs when he's stationary, and not flying? But I guess it helps. Ushmuel Omar ti bodek. You'd have to take a straw and put it down its kana and see, blow into it and see how if it has a hole or not. V'chein Omar Rabbi Yochanan ti bodek. What?
Why does he make it a treifo? He says you can.
What do you mean? He says do bdika.
Rav said no. Rav said it's a treifo.
Yeah.
So I'm saying.
So it could be that Shmuel says.
Why not?
He said because you have to be choshed. There's a hole that you're not going to discover.
Can't
According to what Rashi says, that the according to what the Tmunei Chol says, that every time it pops off, automatically part of the what is the test going to help you? Yeah.
Blow into it.
Yeah. V'chein Omar Rabbi Yochanan ti bodek. Chizki Omar ein re'eloiv. Chizki comes and says a very puzzling statement. A bird doesn't have a lung. Rabbi Yochanan Omar yeshlo, and the Gemara is going to explain what he means if it's possible to explain. Rabbi Yochanan Omar yeshlo, a bird does have. Not only does it have v'yeshno ke'ola shel vered bein hagapayim, it looks like a rose, like a red rose between its wings. So what does he mean? My ein re'eloiv. If you're going to tell me that Chizki or hold mamish doesn't have a lung. You open up a chicken and everybody knows a chicken has a lung. What he meant to say is that you cannot make a treifa through a lung, but that can't be either. Vatani Levi, any treifa that a behema has, you have by a bird. There's one extra nishbara etzem if the skull broke, and we said it's the skull of a water bird, akopanim, you see that a bird has a lung and there's a treifa in the bird. Elo ein loy, what does it mean it doesn't have a lung? Loy li nafel v'loy li chomer. That if it falls, you step on it, or you scorch it, you put it in the fire like we had yesterday, barbecue chicken, then for that we're not worried about the lung. We don't have to check the lung. Once you open up the animal, you check other avarim. You don't have to check the lung because the fire is not going to get to the lung. And the fall is not going to hurt the lung. He's very protected, a bird. His lungs are protected. My timer. Because most of it's okay. So in the Sichas Chullin, which hopefully we're going to have a live demonstration from the Mechaber. He basically, this is his drawing, and this exact drawing is in the Masifta, with permission. I have permission to copy these. He's showing an animal rib over here and a bird rib. Basically, the animal rib is very wide and thin. So if an animal gets hit on his side, it doesn't provide a lot of protection. But a bird rib is very deep and very narrow. The red is the part facing the outside of the bird. The blue is basically the rib of a bird looks like this versus an animal which is like this. So this provides a lot more protection. They also say that when it gets hurt, the lung kind of goes between the ribs. Instead of getting pushed in, it has place to move. It expands between the ribs, and that sort of helps the bird from getting hit. Yeah, whatever it is. The bottom line, the Gemara says that we're not concerned of a lung getting hurt from a fall or a crush. It's protected better than an animal is in that area. And also it's deeper into the body, to the cavity of the body, so that it's not going to get scorched by fire. The liver might get scorched. Other things might, the intestines, but not the lung. Says the Gemara, that's not a good answer to say that's what Chizkiah said. He says, Mefurish, Yeshloi. Rabbi Yochanan is telling Chizkiah, Yeshloi, he does have a lung. The Lashon, he does have, meaning, I understand from you that you think he doesn't have a lung, and I say he does have a lung, and look, it looks like a rose, it's this color, etc. I mean, like, if you look into it, insects, they don't really have a lung. They have some sort of, air goes in. It's not like a lung like we have. So maybe he thought that's what a bird has. It's like, even we're saying it's stationary. It doesn't inflate, deflate. Maybe it's not called a lung, but Al Kapara, we see there's some sort of Shaila Metzias here. What happened? The last line. From the words of this Gadol Galadar, meaning Chizkiah, Nikar she'eni boki b'tarin goylam. Rashi says it's a joke. They said it in a joke, but it was serious. It was a sarcastic joke. Basically, he never ate chicken, so he doesn't know anything about chickens. He simply misspoke here. He said that there's no lung when indeed it has a lung. Om Rav Huna Omer Rav. Now we're going to go into a whole discussion what Rav really said in regard to the thigh bone is dislocated. Shmutas yorech ba'oif ksheira. So he says there's a lashon from Rav Huna. Rav Huna says I heard Rav say that even if the thigh is dislocated by chicken, it's kosher.
We didn't say that before.
Right. So we're gonna. So that's what we need to straighten out here. We got to figure out what's going on with Rav. Now, just as a side point, Tosfos points out, how does that fit into the concept that we had before, that any treifa by a behema is a treif by a oif? We know that buku da atma, the thigh bone of the animal, that's pasha that it's a treif. So either Tosfos says he's mechulek on that, he holds it's not, and the Rashba says to answer Tosfos that concept that everything that's by behemoths, by oif, is only what's mefurish in the 18 things in the Mishnah. Fine. So what exactly are the Shashmaitza? Yeah, I know. Bukadat is part of the Shashmaitza. Yeah, weiß nicht. Mefurish in the Mishnah, and you have to deal with the Shashmaitza. Ayin barashba. Omar le Rabba bar Rav Huna le Rav Huna. So his son tells his father, Rav Huna, v'Rabbanu dasim u'pumbedisa amri. The Rabbanan that came from Pumbedisa said, Rav Yehuda mishmei the Rav Omar. Now you have a Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav. Omar shmudas yorch boif treifa. What do? Rav Yehuda says that Rav said it's treif, and you said Rav Huna says that Rav said it's kosher. It's a contradiction. Omar le beri, my son, naharu pashte. We had this lashon a few times. Every river flows different speeds, different directions. Rashi explains there it's a little bit more complicated than that. Basically, in Pumbedisa, they had a chumrah. They wouldn't eat a dislocated thigh. And when Rav saw it, Rav didn't remark, he didn't say anything. So Rav Yehuda understood from that it's treif. But Rav never meant to say that's treif. He just said, let them be. They have a chumrah, No, they don't know what they're doing. I'm not going to say anything. Let them be machmer. But Rav Yehuda took from that. He said, I heard Rav say that it's treif, but it's not true. Says Rav Huna.
Rav lived in Surah, and that was quite a distance away. And he had his old heritage from Menogin.
Yeah.
Now he lived in Boston. And therefore, when he visited Disa, he wouldn't interfere with Menogin.
Okay, but we're going to see Lamaskana. What's the halacha? Also, Rabbi Abba Rabbi Yirmiyah the call Bodik B'Tzomis Hagidin. Rabbi Abba found Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba that was checking the Tzomis Hagidim. He's checking the tendons. Omar Lei. Rabbi said, if we pay attention to this, it'll be easier in Omid Beis. It's the same word for word, and we'll be able to fly through it. Omar Lei, Lama Lei Lamar Kuli Hai. Why do you need to check the Tzomis Hagidim? What's the point? But Rav Huna, Omar Rav, Shmulis Yorch Boiv Kshero. Rav Huna said in the name of Rav that if the thigh bone is dislocated completely, it's kosher. So if it's dislocated, pretend that it's not there at all. So what do I care if the Tzomis Hagidin are ripped? You have a completely dislocated foreleg. So you're going to care now about one of the tendons on the foreleg? The hind leg, sorry, the hind leg.
We saw that before. Mikvah versus...
Yeah, so that's basically what the Gemara's answer is going to be. Omalei, I don't know about your svaras, I know about the facts. The fact is, the Mishnah says, Behemo shenechtechu ragleo min arkuvo lamato kshero, min arkuvo lamalo psulo. If an animal's leg was cut below the joint, call it a knee, it's a very high knee for an animal. It almost looks like an ankle, but it's like the animal's knee. That's what it is. It's third joint down, but it's way up. So if it's below that, it's kosher. Above that is pasul. V'chein, it says before, shenita tzomis hagidin, that if the tendons are removed, then it's treif. And the same thing by a bird. And we're talking about a bird, and memela it's treif. Ihachi kasha the Rav. So now we have, in the one hand, we say Rav says that if it's dislocated, the whole entire thigh is kosher. If the tzomis hagidin is cut, it's treif. What do we do? So the Gemara says ishtik. He was quiet. Basically, he had an answer, but he didn't think it was even necessary to answer. It was so pashut, like Noam said. The answer is pashut. So he himself tried to answer it. He felt uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable silence. So he said, "Okay, let me answer it myself." Dilma, maybe there's a big difference between dislocated, where it could heal itself maybe later on and it could live, where if you have a severed tendon, that will cause the animal to die. Omar Lei. So now he decided to talk. Va'at mefarshe shmaitze the Rav.
No, the opposite.
You're gonna no, and he's told him.
He said Shmuta will be kosher, even if everything is taken.
Right, that's what I said. And and a tendon will make it treif. Go back in the video. Also. Says the Gemara. Chat. But please, but you'll send it on the thing. So he told him, wait a minute, you think you're inventing this teretz, this pshat? Bat mefarsh shmaitz the Rav, beferish omar Rav. That's exactly what you just said is exactly what Rav said, and I didn't think it was necessary for me to tell you this. Shmuta kshero. If it's dislocated, it's kosher because it could go back into place, it could heal, whatever the reason is. Chatucha psula. You can make a distinction between the two. And don't wonder, you can sometimes cut like we had before. You could cut below the joint and cut into the tzomis hagidin and kill the animal, and you cut above the joint and the animal will live. You see it before. You see hands on. You see it mefurish. What happens from experience? You could tell. Says the Gemara, Kisolik Rabbi Abba, when he went up to Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Abba Ashkechel, Rabbi Zera, the Yosef Omar, Omar Rav Hun, Omar Rav, Shmut Asirach Boif, Treifa. So here we have another shita that says that Rav said, dislocated thigh is treif. Omar Lei, Chayedemar, on your life, Miyoyme the Solik Mar Lahocha, Havelon, Pischim Pek, Hamed Rav Huna. When you left, I was able to shmooze directly with Rav Huna. And I asked him what happened. What you said treif is not true. Rav Huna said it's kosher, like we had before in the sugya. Rav Huna says it's kosher in the name of Rav. Now, put on your seatbelts. I saw him checking the Tzomis Hagidim. Actually, what do you have to check? Even if it's dislocated, it's kosher. I don't know anything. I just know Mefurish. It says, and you see that Tzomis Hagidim by a bird is treif v'amrilei. So I answered ihochi kasha the Rav. So we have a stira in Rav. On the one hand, he says that dislocated is kosher. On the other hand, he says that cut tendons are treif. Ishtik, he didn't say anything. Actually, maybe I can make a distinction between dislocated and cut. And you think you made this up yourself. However, what did you hear about this? What do you think? It says Reb Zera, another shita in the name of Rav, Shmutas Yorech Ba'oif Treifo. V'chein Omar Rabbi Yaakov Bar Yidi Omar Rabbi Yochanan Shmutas Yorech Ba'oif Treifo. Now, V'omar Rabbi Yaakov Bar Yidi Ilmolei Haber Rabbi Yochanan Ba'asra D'Orba Chaber V'asa Le'Teira Le'Parkis. If Rabbi Yochanan said that a dislocated hip is treif. If he was in the place with all the Gdolim, the Gdoil Adar, and he heard them say that it's kosher, he wouldn't be able to move. He would just stand still. He wouldn't be able to move. He wouldn't be able to say a thing. In other words, Yeshal Milismoich that it's kosher. V'tanin Goyles Hoysa says the Gemara. V'adamar Rabbi Chanina Amar Rabbi. Okay, you're paying attention even though I'm flying. So we have Rebbe, the Heilige Rebbe, Nasi. He says that a dislocated thigh is kosher. So you, Rabbi Yochanan, that say treif, you wouldn't dare try to slug that up. Says the Gemara story. There was actually a case where the thigh bone was dislocated. And Rebbe himself said it's mutter. Rebbe Chanina, says Rashi, he took this bird and he preserved it in salt. Right? Didn't have freezers. He wanted to show.
Hordes preserve
Yeah.
honey and honey.
Correct. I don't know. But maybe you can't see it so well. Maybe the honey is too thick around it. Whatever. He wanted to show the oilam. Look at this. Here's a chicken that saw Rebbe. This is a chicken that actually Rebbe checked and said that this dislocated thigh is kosher.
With the Giddim, we're okay.
And he would run around and show Talmidim, and he would say, this chicken, right over here, you see the salted chicken, and you see that it's missing its thigh, look, as is, right over here, it's shmuta, it's a little bit to the side, it's missing its wing also, so that this chicken is kosher. Rebbe said before it's kosher. So what are we going to do with this? Zehitili Rebbe, he would run around and scream to the olam, this is a chicken that Rebbe said it's mutter. Says the Gemara, V'leis hilchasik echol hanishmaitza. The halacha is not like any of these things that we just said, it's mutter. Elo ki ha, at the bottom line, the end of the sugya, we go back and forth. Rav said it this way, Rav said it that way. Rebbe Yochanan said it this way, Rebbe said it that way. At the end of the day, we cannot rely on what we know from Rebbe, that it's mutter and the salted chicken and the honey chicken and all the chickens. The bottom line is, Elo ki ha d'shar Rabbi Yosef ben Nohiroi as Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. There's a shayla. Kediras kana bekama. If you have the kana, the trachea that has a hole in it, how big could the hole be? Omarle Mishnah Shleim Mishnaninu. That's Mefurish Mishnah. At Kisar Italki. We had the Mishnah. It has to be the size. The hole has to be the size of a coin from Italy, the Isser of Italy. There was a story with a sheep running around in our neighborhood with a giant hole in its trachea. They patched it up. They took some reed, something, they put it in there, they stuffed the hole, and the sheep continued to live. It was breathing just fine. Omar loy, it was more like a band-aid. Omar loy v'aldoat somich, you're going to rely on that story. V'aloy halacha reivachas b'Yisrael. And this is the key point of the whole Gemara, these words. V'aloy halacha reivachas b'Yisrael. There's a halacha that's accepted in Klal Yisrael. That what? Shmutas yorach boiv treifa. That's it. At the end of the day, we accepted, Klal Yisrael accepted, that a dislocated thigh is treif, and I don't care that Rebbe said it's kosher, and it doesn't matter all the other halachas that you found, we say it's treif. There's a story with another chicken, Reb Shimon ben Chalafta, that its thigh bone was removed. Now you have to understand, as the Gemara is going to say soon, Reb Shimon ben Chalafta was a part-time scientist. He used to experiment a lot, as we're going to see. So he had a chicken. Shenishmeta yarach shelo, its thigh bone was dislocated. They made a little splint for the little poor chicken, and it lived. It was able to run around with like a hip surgery kind of thing. But we know that it's a treifa. So how did it live? So you have to say, and this is the concept that we've been saying the whole entire Perek and the whole Masechta. It was within 12 months. And when we say treifa, we mean it cannot live more than 12 months. So these stories that you're bringing me, that they patched up its trachea, that they put a splint on, these are all stories. You never saw that this animal lived more than 12 months. It lived, but not 12 months.
Anyway, because without the operation, it would have died. So we're saying we could have saved the
But if with the operation it lives more than 12 months, that proves that it's not a treifa.
Maybe that animal's not a treifa, but generally you
No.
don't operate a chicken.
No.
And therefore, generally
But we
they
learned a bunch of times. We learned many times. If it's possible to operate, and it's possible to give medicine, it's possible to heal this thing. So even if the animal dies from it, it's not a treifa. You just didn't operate. You decided not to operate. But you could perform a healing process on it, so it's not considered a treifa.
Also the guinea?
Treifa means
We had that with the poison. If you can give
Yeah.
it an antidote.
you could give an antidote. So all poisons of snakes are nothing, even though you don't have an antidote. You're in the middle of the desert, not a treifa. You know it's not going to live 12 months. Too bad. In Ilchas treifa, you just have to have the ability to do it. And the Mela, it is a treifa. Don't bring any raya from it. Shmuda Serach Ba'if, treifa. Now, a little bit of a gadda. Omer olav Reb Shimon ben Chalafta. She'askem b'dvar moya. He loved to experiment. V'hoyois hadavar lo yitzim milibash Reb Yehuda. And he did an experiment to basically disprove Reb Yehuda. Shahoy Reb Yehuda oimer im nitla no yitzah psula. I had yesterday in the Mishnah that if it's down, the down of a chicken is removed, it's a goner, it's a treifa. He did a nice experiment on a chicken. The chicken didn't have any down. He put it in the oven, on a low flame, low burner. And he put on a coat, which is basically an apron of the coppersmith. And the coppersmith has this thick leather apron, which Rashi also describes as having a lot of small splinters of copper in it. So copper naturally gives off heat, I guess together with the oven as well. It just conducts heat. This chicken was very warm. It didn't need down. It had a superficial down on it. He's able to create a situation where the chicken lived, not only did it live, but it had larger feathers than it had before its terrible tragedy.
Put it in an incubator.
Put it literally in an incubator, in a small little oven, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, incubator. Beautiful. Thank you. Put it in an incubator. I like it. Says the Gemara of Dilma Kosavar Rabbi Yehuda Treifa Mishabachas. We're going to have later on today's Amud. There's a Shaila. Maybe a Treifa could indeed get better, get healthier, but eventually it's going to die. It's such a thing. Imkain, you see the Loyalenu, you see people that get sick. A lot of times, all of a sudden they have this surge in health. They all of a sudden, he's getting better, and then goes down. There's such a thing. An animal gets bigger and stronger, but he's going to die within 12 months. Says the Gemara, no, that makes no sense. Yes, even if you hold to such a concept that you get better, but not within that organ that's damaged. That doesn't make sense. To say that it's a treifa, it's going to die because it has no feathers, and then it grew larger feathers than before and it died because of that makes no sense. So, basically, he's an experimenter, and he experimented and he disproved Rabbi Yehuda. A chicken that doesn't have down is not considered a treifa according to Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta. May I ask him, why do they call him this name? What? It's Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. That is Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. I argue with Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. May I ask him, why did he have this nickname that he's an experimenter? The famous pasuk, go to the ant who, if you're lazy, go look how she's not lazy, and you become smarter. It has no ruler, an ant, yet it works really hard. It prepares in the summer, it's bread, it's food. Omar, Ezel, Echzi, I want to experiment and see if there's no ruler of the ants. He went in the summer, very hot, and the ants like the shade. They're all hiding in the anthole. He put his cloak over the anthill and pretended that there's shade. He fooled at least one ant. One ant happened to come outside, check the weather. So he grabbed him, he labeled him, he put one of those, what are they called? A what? No.
Highlighter.
You do it to the bulls. You he branded the ant. He had a mini brander. He branded it. This is number one. This is ant number one. Okay. So the ant goes back into the hive. Amalu, a little GoPro for ants. All Amalu Nofal Tula. Rabbi say it's time to come outside. The shade. Nafkuvasu. So they all come outside. Now he knew that if he messes up, it's death. But he saw shade. The shade. So also Dalya Liglime Nofal Shimshon. When they all came out, all of a sudden he removed his coat. And fooled you. So now all the ants are upset. What are you staring at us? We're busy. We're down here chilling. You made us come out of.
You'd like to switch in with Chalafta. We're kind of guys.
Noflu alei v'katlei. They
killed him.
They decide. You told us it's shade. I guess Shlomo Melech didn't say we should learn that part from the Nimalim, but this is the thing. You don't lie. Omar says Reb Shimon ben Chalafta Shma mino lesnu malka. I could prove from this story that they don't have a ruler. The Islu malka, the Islu, if they have a king, harmona de malka loilibo. Shouldn't they have to ask permission before they kill one of themselves? Saraya, they have no king. Because on the spot they killed him. He didn't see anybody going back into the hive, coming back with permission. There's no back and forth. You lied on the spot, death. Oh, you hear Chaim's kasha? Maybe the king was there. Maybe he said on the spot. Rabbi said, kill him. Inami, another kasha. Harmona de malka havenikite. Maybe they had prior permission. There's a rule in the hive. It happened before. Yesterday also, a guy thought there was shade. They hung him. The guy is hanging over there. Everybody knows. You don't lie about the shade. Inami, bein malka malka hava. Maybe there was no ruler that day. They had nothing to, the ruler died. They were waiting for the new ruler. This guy thought he's going to be the ruler. He shot at the shade. He came in. I'm going to be the next ruler. That didn't work either.
Anarchy.
Look, it says in the first pasuk, when there's no king in Klal Yisrael, you need a ruler, and maybe there's no ruler. Rely on Shlomo Melech. How did he know it? Ruach HaKodesh. That's how he knew it. Tosfos asks a beautiful kasha.
Everyone knows they have a queen.
Maybe to reproduce, but maybe not from. How do you know? How do you know that's a queen bee? But how do you know? Maybe it's for maybe it's for reproduction. Yeah. So maybe for reproduction, but not for ruling. How do you know? We don't know that she rules. So, anyways, Tosfos brings down the famous, unbelievable story from Baba Basra. Tosfos asks the kasha: how could Reb Shimon ben Chalafta doubt Shlomo Melech? It says in the Gemara in Bava Basra, the famous story, Rabbi Yochanan said that Lasad Lavet is going to be 2 giant stones the size of 30 amma by 30 amma, diamonds. And they're going to make the entrance to Yerushalayim. So the Talmud, he said, it's impossible. You don't even have a diamond the size of an egg. How are you going to have a diamond that's 60 by 60 feet? One day he was in the ocean and he sees Malachim cutting the stone. And he asked them, what are you doing? And they said, it's for Lasad Lavet. He comes back to Rabbi Yochanan and he tells Rabbi Yochanan, what's the Lashon over there? Kasher Marta Kain Re'isi. I saw exactly like you said. Rabbi Yochanan got very upset. He said, Reiko, because if you didn't see it, you wouldn't trust me. He became
a proof to something.
Oh, hold on. So he became a Gal Shalat Salmis. He became a pile of bones. So you see, you can't doubt your Rebbe. So on that place it says, like Nachman saying, that he wanted to be mechazik himself, it seems like. He wanted to prove that, how did Shlomo HaMelech know this? I'm not doubting Shlomo HaMelech, but how did he figure it out? Says the Gemara, he didn't figure it out because he did an experiment. He figured it out from Ruach HaKodesh.
He's the smartest person in the world.
Okay, but the Gemara says not from smarts. It was from Ruach HaKodesh.
Okay. If you're the smartest person in the
Zog the
world.
Gemara, Omer Rav Huna.
Shlomo HaMelech himself said,
Oh, so very good, very good. The Meram Shif brings that as a very good. It says Leichel L'Mala itself. It's mafurish in the pasuk. You go check it out. I want you to check it out. Okay. Omer Rav Huna, similar treifa, Shnei Masach Chodesh. If you have a suffix treifa, right? It fell, whatever it is, it got burnt a little bit. You don't know if it's a treifa. You wait 12 months, and if it lives, then obviously it's not a treifa. Meisvei, similar treifa, Kol Shena Yoledes. If an animal is a treifa, it won't be able to give birth. It won't be able to conceive. It probably could give birth, but it won't be able to conceive. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Mishabachas B'Yuleches, B'Yiduach Shikshera. If it gets stronger and better, then it's kosher. Misnavneva B'Yuleches B'Yiduach Shitreifa. If it withers away, it goes downwards, it spirals down, then it's a treifa. Rebbe Omer, similar treifa shleishim yom. So Rebbe says that all you need to do is wait 30 days. Omer loy v'alei harbe miskayim shtayim sholish shanim. The bottom line, we have a big kasha. We have Rebbe on one hand says 30 days of treifa. We have Omer loy 2 to 3 years. Where did you, Rav Huna, get 12 months? Where did that come from? Says the Gemara, Rebbe says shleishim yom, but where did you get 12 months? What?
Maybe that's why he holds Shmut Siach Ba'if is kosher.
Because it's shleishim yom.
Not a year.
Okay, but it doesn't say you even have to wait. You don't even have to wait 30 days. On the spot, you can shecht it. Sometimes you wait 30 days, the bird is like 40 years old already. Says the Gemara, okay. Yeah, the Sanya, we had this halacha. A skull is mitama ba'oil, but if it's missing part of the skull, it's not a full skull, then it's not mitama. How much does it have to be missing? A nekev, like the size of a drill bit, even if it's made out of small little holes all over the skull, a live person, his skull was missing a part. Now a live person also has the same halacha. He's obviously going to die within 12 months. They took Nebuch in those days. They didn't have the material. They took a watermelon, they took a shell of a gourd or whatever, and they dried it out, and they stuck to his head. Obviously, this guy, Nebuch, didn't last very long. Yeah, he lived. When? In the summer. In other words, says Reb Shimon and Elazar, you have to wait 12 months. Why do you have to wait 12 months? This is a big chiddush. Rabbi said, why 12 months? Where did 12 months come from? Because 12 months has all the seasons. Some people die from heat, some people die from cold. Depending, if you have a hole in your head, you're going to die from cold. If it's another problem, then you die from heat. So we have to go through the whole calendar and see if he survived all the seasons, then he's not a treifa. And a treifa could give birth, and it's not a raya if she conceived that she's not a treifa, she is a treifa, and it's not a raya if an animal gets bigger and stronger that she's not a treifa, it is a treifa. That's la halacha. Have a great day.
From where do you know 12 months?
Hit me up.